One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads. I'm feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They're telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Don't let it get the most of me. Eventually, I'm gonna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free. Let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I told them take their aim off me. Stop trying to get a name off me. If they would just let me be, I'm gonna be free. I told them take them chains off me and throw away the locks and keys. If they would just let me be, eventually I'm gonna be free.
They're back.
What up, though? Since 7 days, right back again for another edition of the Dominant Effect. I'm Archbishop. We got Mike Ball. We got Aaron Olinger. So what's up, everybody? Hope everybody's week was on point and exciting. I know Mike probably got a story to tell. But just like always, we're gonna go through, see how everybody's week was before we jump to the story. So what's up, Aaron? How was your weekend, brother?
Not bad at all. Weather's changing here. Still a little chilly out, but I'm getting out, starting to do some walking. I'm gonna start working out here. Start to try to get my body in shape for summertime and for whatever else this world brings my direction over the summer. So that's what my plans are right now.
Not too bad.
What about you, Mike? So you wasn't with us last week.
That's right. I was about to say, I was going to start off that it wasn't 7 days for me. It was 14 days for me. Unfortunately did have to miss last week, but I still watched it. It was still in there while I was driving. I was listening. But so last time that we saw, you guys were live 7 days ago, I went and picked up Naomi from the airport. That's what was happening. She's in the chat right now. And she stayed with us until Wednesday, till Tuesday. Right. So almost a week. Yeah, it was a great time being able to relax a little bit, not have to be like so either business oriented or even the show. And I still did the show and all that stuff too, but I was more able to like relax a little bit, which was much needed.
That's good. That's good. Well, same old on my end. Work like always. Grinding, hustling, things that we always do. Try to get one step ahead and to kind of plan ahead. There's always something going on these days. So that'll put me in more of a survival mode, the way of thinking for right now. So I've been doing a lot of that. But everything's good. Like I said, I got to be in traveling to Ohio on Friday to have that for my brother's homegoing.
Right.
And so I'll be in Ohio Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Kind of hate having to go. I really don't want to go, but I know I got to go.
Right. I hear that.
But everything's gonna be good. So family's holding in, family's doing good. So we're just gonna get this by and move on from there, I guess. I guess that's all you can say. But so we're gonna run into this story. And I titled this story, "Is the World on the Brink of Disaster?" And the reason for me titling that is because it seems like here recently, this is all we've been talking about because it's so much different stuff that's going on throughout the week. And every week it changes, so it's like the same stuff, but it's like a plot twist.
Yes.
Or something added over here, something taken away over here. And right now it seems like it's like a huge game of cat and mouse being played right now. And the bad thing about that is that you can play that for a while, but eventually it's going to come to a head. And what's going to be the ramifications once it does? How far is this going to go before it comes to a head? So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And I know we was talking prior to the show starting, and Aaron had this whole thing plotted up, man, and he was just going and going and going. I'm like, hold up, man. Save that for the show. You got it. Save that for the show, brother, because you just going.
But see what happens when you stay up, like all night long and you're like just obsessing over,
Man.
I mean, shoot, hey, that's the guy to speak on it,
Right. And he be on it. Like I said, he'd be up. I mean, when we had the stuff going on with the market, I mean, he was on it. Being the fact that the market crashed with 4,200 points in like 3 days, he was on it. But it's a lot of stuff that goes along with that still. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people's 401k right now is hit.
Yes.
What took them years and years to build up is about most of that is wiped out. You know what I mean? So like we're looking at the numbers and we're like, okay, this is crazy. You know what I mean? We done went from one extreme to the next. You know what I mean? So kind of like we went from a bull market to a bear market.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically where we heading. You know what I mean? Now it's slowly gaining a little speed and fizzle or whatever. It's not hitting, these big milestones. I mean, they're nowhere close to recuperating what's been lost. So we're gonna so we're gonna dig into this a little bit, and being the fact that Aaron was on a roll before we started the show, I'm gonna let him start. So take it away, man.
All right. Now we all know that strategy moves are being played right now. And Bishop, you've been saying all along it comes down to money. And we've also said on this show that everything starts off first with money being currency wars. Currency wars progress to trade wars. Trade wars go to real wars. I mean, when products stop crossing borders, troops usually start to cross the borders at that point. Now, Thursday and Friday, major collapse was in the works. And I was concerned about what was going to happen Monday. Well, I'm up late at night. I I'm self-employed, so I don't have to be at work. So Sunday night, I'm up watching the markets, what's going on overseas. Now, the Dow come Monday had fell down to 37,646. But before our markets opened at 9:30, I was watching the foreign markets, Asia, as well as Europe. Now, I watched some lady talk for a whole hour on how Europe was the biggest market. The United States and the world needs the European markets. They had retaliatory tariffs in place to get ready to rock our world with. And then 2 hours later, I'm watching their world get rocked. I'm watching Europe being rocked. Mike, do you mind putting up picture 2 for a second?
Sure, I got you right now.
Okay.
Here we go. This is number 2 right here. Boom.
Okay. Now, as you can see, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Japan led the night of losses that night. They had to literally shut their markets down. The circuit breakers kicked in to keep a total collapse from happening. Those 3 markets closed. And then Europe, who thought that they were so valuable, their market started falling. Now, what they don't show on there is Australia also took major hits, but everybody overseas, they end up losing overnight $6.5 trillion. Now, we've said on here before that our markets are stronger. They need us more than they need them, but they were bragging at first that we needed them. Now, after their collapse that night, our markets opened up and it fell about 1.5%, which was about $325. Now, by noon, it was down 1,000, but it came back to where we had only lost $350 by the end of the day. I mean, on points on the Dow. Standard & Poor's fell 1.57% down to 4,963, which is the first time in a while that's been below 5,000. But for everyone else to have lost trillions and we lost so little showed the strength of our markets. Now, at the end of their day, 50 countries reached out to President Trump and wanted to sit down and talk. They wanted some talks. They wanted to change the tariffs. She'll pick one, Mike. Okay, and you can see right there the unfairness. U.S. proposed tariffs, where we were just talking about doing a 10% tariff across the board, which we're still talking about that right now. But even what we're charging China's still way ahead of us, and now it's up in above $100. I mean, 100 something points on the tariff percent wise, and China's going to counter us back. China's the only one in position to be able to challenge us because they only import about 20% of their products from us. So if someone has to outlast somebody, China is the only one in position to try to play that game with us. Oh, and you can go down the list and see how bad. I mean, Cambodia charges us 97% tariffs. I mean, that's ridiculous. Where's the fairness in that? But go ahead and take that down, Mike. But after the collapse on Monday morning, Black Monday, 50 countries was contacting Trump and making appointments with him over April, May, and June to try to talk a deal. So Trump has called for a 90-day pause on the tariffs on everybody except for China. Now, on Tuesday, the Dow fell 300 points more, which was good because everybody else was still losing trillions of dollars. Standard & Poor's fell a little bit. Overall market that day lost 5.83 trillion. Now 70 countries have reached out to Trump trying to schedule appointments to talk a deal. Now, as of today, and this shows the strength of our markets, the Dow, keep in mind on Monday was at 37,646. Today, the Dow was at 40,608. It was up over 3,000 points. We almost made back everything that we had lost in a single day. In a single day. while everybody else was still losing money. Standard & Poor's was at 5,457. Now keep in mind, they was at 4,963. They were, as of today's close, 5,457. They were up over 474 points today. Almost all the stocks were in the green today after taking major losses between Thursday to Monday. Treasury yields were even stubbornly high today. And as of today, you had 75 countries that had reached out and want to schedule appointments with Mr. Trump to negotiate some deals. Now, Warren Buffett, who is the world's most famous value investor, he says to be fearful when others are greedy and to be greedy only when others are fearful. I mean, his goal on a daily basis is to go to bed smarter each day, to learn a little bit, at least learn one or two things that day to be smarter, because he feels that intelligence is the greatest investment that you can have in yourself. He said that he sees discounts where others see disaster. When the markets were losing major money, he saw this day coming. He felt that the markets were overvalued. It was a giant balloon waiting to burst. Did Trump's tariffs accelerate that burst? Yes, it did. It most definitely did. But there was a straight strategy move. Warren Buffett had liquidated a lot of stocks that he invested in. He had took his profits, even though the market was still going up, and he was sitting on a pile of cash. And if he feels the markets had hit rock bottom right now, he will jump right back in and he will ride that market back up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He says, don't fear crashes. He tells people to stockpile cash instead. And if markets are overpriced, you sell, take your profits, and build cash reserves, which is what he did. He had made a strategy move. He's in the right position at the right time. He says, pick strong, stable companies and stick with them. His investing thesis is to buy and hold shares of high quality companies with strong financials and unique competitive advantages that can sustain them through tough patches over long term. Now, right now, Trump is saying he's going to have a busy April, May, and June because he's going to have to meet with each of these people individually and tailor make deals per each country. However, some of them are so desperate from having lost so much money from their economy that right now they are offering us things as an incentive that we wouldn't even have thought of asking for.
Oh, wow.
So we're in a position of power right now to negotiate the best deals possible for us. We have showed that we are still leading this world right now, whether people wants to admit to it or not. But it's looking like we are definitely going into a trade war with China because they're the only ones that can do what they're doing.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this right quick. So the markets went up over 2,000 today.
Yeah.
Would you think, in your honest opinion, do you think the markets would have went up that high if Trump would not have dropped those tariffs today?
No. The tariffs was the thing that sparked the burst of the bubble. But again, it's a strategy move. You want to bring people to the negotiating table. And even though everybody was being stubborn and they wanted to keep the same deals that they've had for years, that was unfair to us. When they started losing trillions of dollars and it came down to the money, it was almost like somebody had a stranglehold around their neck and was slowly starting to squeeze and put that pressure on. If, say, our industries here start to lose, which there's going to be layoffs from that amount of money that was lost. There's no doubt of that. But we have something here in the United States called unemployment insurance that pays you 80% of the money that you would normally get on your wages. Most of those foreign countries don't have that. If they become unemployed, they're just out. They got to figure out how they're going to feed their families and things. And it don't look good for them. And with the trillions of dollars being lost, it could take, and say a 3% per year rise of the economy. It could take 10 years for it to come back totally, even though we made most of it back today. But that would be a good thing for us because it would show that we would have a bull market guaranteed for at least 10 years versus the volatility that's out there. Now, anyone that don't want to play ball, we're going to go into a trade war with them, which is going to ruin their economy. Yep. Trillions of dollars lost. How much money can you lose before your whole money system goes bankrupt, before it loses value? I mean, our money lost value, and you can bet if ours lost value, a whole lot of other people's was losing value too.
No kidding.
But I'm not there. Yeah.
Real quick, speaking of money, chairman of the board sent in $5 super chat saying bruh, and then he came in with the 2-month membership, by the way, saying bruh again. And then K2 keep on trucking says with the little respect, thing, here is for Captain Mike Grift. Hey, I very much appreciate that, K2, as well. Chairman of the board says, bruh, my profits, bruh, Orange Man bad, bruh. Well, you're on a bruh kick right now. And then he sends in another 5 and says the asset bubble still exists. If one minor policy change causes a disruption in the markets, we have a bigger problems, which is fake money. Modala, bruh. Got you. Listen, man, very much appreciate you guys sending in the cash, by the way. Speaking of money and, losses and shit, you guys can help out our losses right here by hitting that super chat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we was, Aaron, when you was talking about the unemployment benefits. Now, I know here in Florida, what I pulled up here is that in Florida, your unemployment benefits are calculated as 1/26 of your earnings in the highest quarter of your base period. Ain't nowhere near no 80%. You're getting 1/26 of that. I just looked up another one that said, well, Illinois had the highest at 47%. They got the highest. You ain't hardly getting
Ohio. In Ohio, we got 80% in Ohio because I was one under Reagan. I was one of the ones that got put out into the street immediately. When the stock market lost 1,200 points, 3 weeks later, there was thousands of us out there in the street under Reagan. Stagflation economy wasn't going nowhere, massive unemployment, trade war with China and some other countries, very similar to right now. And going to what the guy was saying a minute ago about Orange Man being bad, it's all a gamble. It's like you're going into Vegas somewhere and you're rolling the dice and you're hoping that you foresaw and made enough predictions to play each side. You've examined the pluses and the minuses and figured which way was best to go with it. It's definitely a gamble. But at the same time, we were going bankrupt. We can't even make the interest payment on our debt. And in case we go to war, just in case you guys both don't know this, we have a $1 trillion defense budget right now. $1 trillion.
It's a lot.
I've never seen that before. Yeah. So if we're arming up like that, there's a damn good chance that we're going to war. Now, the benefit we have with this president, he told us this was coming. He told us this was coming when he ran for office, what he was going to do. He even told us that it was coming. He's told us this week that we're still going to see hard times. So when you hear that from a guy that's about to make shit happen, that's when you prep. If you're short on anything, you want to prep up. If you need to liquidate some things so that you can get that cash reserve that Warren Buffett talked about, you need to be listening to what this guy's saying because he ain't bluffing. He's going to do things. And if you react to it, you could come out on top at the end. But if you sit there and ignore him, then you're going to suffer. So he's the only president that I've seen now. And I don't care if people say, well, you must be a Trump supporter. No, I'm a true supporter. If he says he's going to do it, he has not showed me anything to indicate that he's not going to. And if he's going to do it and he tells me he's going to do it, like this weekend, I went over to Sam's Club just in case things get short. I stocked up on some stuff. I invested about $200 to fill in the gaps in some of my preps because I'm not going to be in a position where I got to choose if we go into a recession, a major recession or depression. I'm not going to have to choose between do I pay bills this week or do I eat. That's not even going to be a problem for me because I prepared for it ahead of time. So that's my answer to that. And I'll stop there.
Hold on, man. Now, I'm glad you brought up the fact that you said that he's not bluffing, because now you think about this though, and think about this as though we playing a game of poker, okay? And right now he got his poker face on, right? And so think about this. Let's say you got those 70 countries that done called out. They all sitting at the table. And everybody's playing a hand of poker, right? And what he's doing right now is he'll throw his chips in, and then he'll throw high, and then he'll throw higher, and then people will start folding until he's almost close to the end, knowing he don't got a hand, and he'll fold. And he'll constantly do that. And that's what he's been doing with these tariffs. He'll threaten you with them, and then he wait to the last minute and he take it back. He's done it, 3 times now? He done that. Now, that's what makes everything volatile right now. It's the fact that he's bringing it out and then take it back at the last minute. So eventually what's going to happen is just like what China's doing right now. They calling his fucking bluff because he keeps doing it. You bring it out, pull it back. Bring it out, pull it back. They feel that they got something that they can leverage, which they do, because they're going to hit the agriculture. And that's where your computer programming stuff comes from. That's where your smartphones and all of the other shit come from. So, yeah, they do have an advantage that they can use, and they're going to use it. And they're going to go back and forth. And the reason why they're going to go back and forth is the fact because he keeps bluffing. He keeps putting the shit out there, wait till the day of, or the right close to 11:59, and then folds. But then you hold on a minute, because I gave you 28 minutes. Hold on. Now, if you talk to any business person that's truly in business, and they will say that as much as they hate regulation, they hate more regulation when it constantly changes. Because when it constantly changes, you got to turn around and try to figure out how you're going to make that work in order to be able to keep your business on track. So you can't keep going. So like, if you're going to do the tariffs, do the tariffs. If you're not, then you're not. But you can't like say, okay, I'm going to do this, and then we get prepared for you to do this, and then you pull back.
Just commit if you're going to do it.
Right. It's like you keep bluffing. Just like when we was talking about a couple shows ago about the hostages. And he said, okay, if you don't have these hostages released by such and such time, hell gonna rain on you. What happened? They've still got the fucking hostages. They ain't done shit. It's talk. And that's what a lot of this shit is. Now you got a $1 trillion deficit for defense. But defense spending is 50% of the gross GDP. In every audit, the past 7 audits that they've been done, they haven't passed one. Why? Because there's money gone that's unaccounted for. That's the biggest thing right there that we talking about. Gross spending and abuse of money is Department of Defense, because they ain't keeping track of shit. They just spending money. You know what I mean? Now, you ever notice that even when they were sitting here talking about all this other stuff that they were going through, and counseling programs and hitting the veterans and hitting Social Security and all this about doing, nobody talked about the Department of Defense. They just keep adding money to it, even though that money ain't never accounted for. So then what do you have? You're gonna have one big clusterfuck. But here's the thing: if we got $1 trillion to put over there, then what are we canceling programs for? If you got $1 trillion over here that you're gonna be able to use just for defense, and you know the reason why they doing that, because they automatically know that they're gonna end up going to war. They already know that. You know what I mean? I think the only reason why he dropped these tariffs today is because they looked at that damn market and realized that you about to fuck some shit up. And some of them billionaire supporters that's invested in some of this stuff, them reached out like, dude, what are you doing? You fucking up my shit now. You know what I mean? I think that's where a lot of that came from. I don't think he just did that out the goodness of his heart. But what I'm saying on here is that you can keep bluffing. Somebody gonna call your card. Somebody gonna make you lay your cards out. And it's gonna be China. That's who it is. But you put tariffs on everybody. You can put tariffs on a damn island. Ain't nothing in it but fucking penguins. But you didn't put one on Russia, and you didn't put one on North Korea. But you put one on everybody else,
including Israel. Even on Israel.
Right. You put tariffs on your own fucking friends, but you didn't put none on Russia. You didn't put none on North Korea. Make that make sense. So I'm gonna fuck my friends over, but I'm gonna keep them okay because I don't want them mad. And then his excuse was, well, you know, they over in war. But you put one on Ukraine. They at war. Israel at war. You put one on them. Make this shit make sense. Now, I heard what you said, and what you said had a lot of truth in it, but you got to put both sides to this because there's a lot of bullshit in here. Go ahead, because I know you got something. I see your little ears twinkling back there. I see your little ears and turn red back there, so I know you got something to say.
Okay, there is no bluff. Is he anteing up playing a poker game? Does he keep raising the stakes? Yes, most definitely there. But every time he's pulled back, it's because, and I'm going to use Mexico and Canada as an example, they've made moves that when he was getting ready to put tariffs on them to show that they were trying to meet him part away. And because of that, he would pull back and he'd give them enough time to come forward and prove through their actions that they're going to fulfill what they say they're going to do. Each time he's pulled back, it's because these countries have said this. Now, you got 75 countries that's reached out to him, so he don't have to go ahead with the tariffs. He's going to negotiate over the next 3 months deals with them to where they don't have to lose trillions of dollars no more. Nobody can afford that. Can he keep anteing up and raising the ante on them? Yeah. I mean, they will all end up folding. But the goal is to get them to come to the negotiating table. That's the end goal. That's what they're working toward. And he's got 75 countries willing to sit down with him. China, on the other hand, that's going to be a tough nut to crack right there. And it's our own fault because of the trade agreements that we've done when China was third world. And we went over there with these agreements, forming this new world order. We brought Americans' lifestyles down to a certain level, and we've raised third world up to where everybody's almost on a key level. And when you did that, you strengthened your enemies to where now they're an industrialized power. Look at what happened in World War II with Japan. Because of the Industrial Revolution, the United States was leading the world. Japan was right behind us. So when we put the oil embargo on them and they had to attack us, man, we put them back into the Stone Age. They were nowhere close to us industrial wise. So we saved the corporations over here by doing that to them. Now we done raised the standards of China up and a lot of these other third world countries. We've made them stronger because we've sent jobs to them. We paid corporations with American tax dollars to take jobs and go over there and set up. We gave them tax incentives to do this. We cut our own throats. So we can't blame nobody but ourselves being involved in this world economy, this new world order, as they want to call it. We done that to ourselves. Now look what happens. China is directly a threat to us, both industry-wise and technology-wise. But we did that to ourselves. So I don't think Trump is bluffing at all. Every time he's pulled back, it was because countries were trying to meet with him. So he's going to give them a chance to prove themselves. If they don't come through what they say, then we're going to be back at the poker table raising the ante on them. When they lose enough money to where their economy damn near collapses, then they'll be willing to talk. The only one that we can't do that to is China. They only import 20% of stuff from us. But if you look at the auto industry, we got Mercedes, we got all kinds of cars over here. Europe has no American cars. China has no American cars. So why are we giving them the benefit of our markets?
Okay, now let me ask you this. Let me
Go
ask you
ahead.
this right quick. How many countries is there in the world?
188.
188. He's talking to 70, 75 of them. So that means that it's well over 100 that ain't talking. Why is that?
Well, you don't
Because
have to.
hold on. I'm gonna tell you where I'm going with this.
Okay.
Now, when we did a story back a while ago, you was with us when we did the story when we was talking about the BRIC Alliance, right? And we were talking about how it was split. That you had, so out of them 180 countries, you had about 80 some odd that was with the BRIC Alliance, and then you had the ones that was left over that was still with the US as of that point. That was before they did the summit. But then there was other countries that we thought was on this side that end up going to the summit, which kind of changed that scale up a little bit. So you got 75 that talk to them. Actually, these 75 are probably the ones that we're actually friends with. So China still has their hand on a lot of these countries that they still talking to. You know what I mean? So when we talk about that, and if they bring this up in the news and they say, well, yeah, Trump talking to 75 countries, you'd be like, yeah, that's great. You're talking to 75 countries. A lot of them don't know what me and you know, that it's 180 damn countries, and that 75 of them talk to them. Okay, but what about the rest of them? Rest of them is sitting over here because China on the phone with them making fucking deals. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying here is that you absolutely right. But when we talking about this, like, we got to put it all out there to let them know, like, okay, you know what I mean? This is good. It's a good start. You got 75. Okay, that's a good start. But you still got over, let's see, what do you say, 188, right? 188 countries. Talking 75 of them. So that's still 115 countries unaccounted for right now. Now, but I still want to know, why is it that you put tariffs on every fucking country except for Russia and North Korea? That's what I want to know. Because that don't make sense. Because if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it to everybody. And that was the excuse that they said at first. When they was talking about the island that had the penguins on, they was like, no. That just happened because we did it to everybody. But then they found out that them two that you didn't. Why? Why would you do it to your friends and not them two right there? That's always been an enemy to the U.S.
Do we even sell goods over there? That's the whole thing.
We don't sell no goods, and we're not importing nothing hardly from them.
We ain't selling
and
none
going
of
back,
either.
going back to what you were saying about the 188, technically, you've heard of something called the G20, G30. 30 countries controls probably 75% of the world's income. And it's just like with rich people, middle class and poor. Rich people probably control 90% of the income, and then the rest is divided as you go down the line. It's the same way in the world. There's certain countries that are more industrialized and more technologically advanced. They're controlling the majority of the money. And if you control the money, you control the people. So technically, as long as he's got the main G30 on board, he's achieved something right there. China's going to be the standout. I don't think we're dealing with North Korea at all. And right now, we're not doing much with Russia right now at all. but the G20 or G30 is the main group, and anybody that you can get to sign on additionally that wishes to avoid tariffs and have access to our markets. Because before we started paying income tax, that's how we financed our government, was tariffs. If England or anybody wanted to have access to our market, they paid a tariff. They paid a duty before the ships came into the harbor. Before they start to unload the ships, the duty has to be paid, and that money ran the U.S. government for years until we got later and somebody came up with the great idea of charging 3% across the board to all Americans to pay an income tax. So everybody's worried about these tariffs. This is just a strategy and a negotiation strategy. I mean, if it was a bad strategy, why did Congress say today, well, we want to be involved on the negotiations? And Trump said, well, you didn't want to be involved before. You criticized it. You're not negotiators. He said that he is. But Congress was actually jumping on board today. Yeah, we want to be involved. We want to negotiate these deals. So if it was that damn bad, why is Congress trying to jump in and take some credit? So right now, we're doing something that hasn't been seen in the last 50 years. And we're trying to bring our country back. This New World Order system has literally driven us down. We're losing our edge in education. We're losing our edge in technology. We're not manufacturing nothing. China's going to overtake us in the next 2 years if we don't change from the current status quo. So people can get mad all they want. When someone tells you we're headed into hard times, and we on this show has warned people that we're getting ready to go into a tough period. Under Reagan, it was 3 years of pure hell. And we could see 3 years here easily before the smoke clears enough to where we could start to see some prosperity. But something has to be done or we're going to go under. We already can't pay the interest payment on the debt. So that right there shows we're bankrupt as a country. We dropped from AAA status credit rating down to AA. If it goes any lower than that, and then we got the BRIC alliance that won't take American dollars no more. They will only take gold and silver and platinum. And look at what's going on around the world. These countries are scrambling to buy gold, silver, and platinum at the moment to be able to deal with China and the BRIC alliance nations.
No kidding.
So, and then the thing that also happened when the stock market was collapsing, I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but the cost of oil went down per barrel. Now you have countries like Russia, Venezuela, other countries that the value of their paper money is tied in to the cost of a barrel of oil. I think I forgot what it dropped down to, but it got pretty low. And that would have meant that their money lost extreme value. And I'm just saying a hypothetical. Let's say it dropped down to $55 a barrel. Man, that would have been 50% of their money would have lost value overnight. Now, if they can get that barrels up above 100, then they're seeing prosperity. The higher it goes above 100, the more prosperity they're seeing. But when it drops below a certain point, man, they're having tough times over there. So right now, our enemies are hurting. The only one that can say that they can stand with us is China. And China's real estate industry is so wrecked that their money is suffering because of it. So nobody is totally clean here. And it's going to come down who can last the longest when tough times happens. And everybody else is going to be racked that don't make a deal. But I'll stop there.
I got you. Jason, they put a question on there. Can you tell me about our friends' country? Yeah, collected taxes, tariffs, United States over the past few decades compared to Russia and North Korea. Well, I just went on here and looked since you put that on there. And yes, the U.S. does import goods from Russia, although Trade between the two countries has significantly decreased in the recent years. In 24, the U.S. imported goods worth estimated $3 billion from Russia. That was a decrease from last year. Now, for North Korea also imports goods to the U.S. Although trade is limited due to sanctions and restrictions, North Korea does not enjoy a normal trade relation with the U.S., but they do have some trade. So, back to the question, Jason, why did they not get a tariff? Because I just read it to you that they get imports from the U.S. to the U.S. from them. So it still should have went with them. My question is why it did not. Now, what's your take on this, Mike?
This is global economics is definitely something that is not my forte. I will come out and say that first and foremost. So for me, for me, I love learning and hearing about these kind of things right here. But it is way above my pay grade. But I will say that regarding the tariffs as a whole, right? I understand that this is the reason why Trump is in his position and I am not. I look at these kind of things as like, okay, well, you must know better than I do, obviously. Implementing them, I guess this is the one thing that people are going to argue, like how he went about and implemented these things rather than just doing it like you were saying in the beginning, AB, like, hey, if you're going to commit, you commit to this and this is what it is. And now the market can kind of stabilize off of that kind of thing. With it going on, being taken off, being put back on, taken off, and almost like a ceasefire in these things like we just saw today, a 90-day basically kind of protection on the whole tariff thing. They're going to drop that so they can negotiate these deals. And I can understand what Aaron is saying on that, how these countries are like, okay, we got 75, even out of 188 countries of the world, we have 75 that are already willing to negotiate a deal rather than just deal with these blanket tariffs that happen unnegotiated. Right. So I think at the end of the day, I think being able to force 75 countries to the table is ultimately a good thing. That's what I have to take on.
I don't really call it a force, though, when these are the ones that actually mess with you from the beginning.
Well, what do you mean? Like they've been messing with us too.
No. What I'm saying is that these are the ones that's been messing with you. Okay. So say like this. You have, just like in any friendship, you have acquaintances, and then you got people that really fuck with you.
Sure.
Right? Now, how many of these 75 are the ones that actually fuck with you? A lot of them. That's why they coming to the table, because they don't want to have to deal with this. You see what I'm saying? I'm talking about the ones who
are on the other side. They're on the other side, right?
Exactly. So are they gonna just take it, or are they listening to the voices over there? I'm like, don't worry about it. We got them. That's what I'm saying. Because you're gonna have, so you got this seesaw. Okay. So you got China on one end, you got US on this end. They got people on here, you got people over here. You're going just like this. Okay. So out of this group, China's the dominant. Over here, US is the dominant.
Sure.
And they keep going and they doing this. You know what I mean? So one, raise it. This one, raise it.
Sure.
And you're just going to keep going until eventually it's going to come to the point that you're going to bottom out. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? It's not about the alliances and shit no more. It's not about talking to these ones over here, because you already know that you already know that these people are going to talk to you.
Well, the dollar doesn't recognize alliances. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
It's going to happen. You know what I mean? But you got the whole, ever since China actually started building itself up, they built themselves up to do what? To become a superpower, to where the U.S. was not the lone superpower in the world.
Sure.
Right? They wanted to be right there. So what have they been doing? They've been doing all kind of stuff. They've been buying shit in Africa. They've been over in Panama. They've been everywhere. They've been giving all these little African countries like, okay, we're going to build this airport, but it's going to cost you this amount. If you don't pay that, then we own the airport. You know what I mean? We're going to build these dams here. We're going to build this here. They've been doing it, and they've been doing it under the radar because what nobody really paying attention to what they were doing. Now they're at the point that they can stand. I mean, that's like a son that done grew up, and then once he got to the same height that he can look his father in the eye, now you're gonna challenge me.
Yeah,
That's what's going on right now.
Mm.
So you're gonna keep throwing up shit. I'm gonna keep throwing up shit. You know what I mean? Until eventually we're gonna have to fight. And whoever wins everything.
Right, because it just starts off as a trade war and it can grow into a real.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm getting at. Like I said, I see what Trump's doing. But I'm looking on the other side too, because like I said, when we're doing this story, we got to talk about both sides here. You know what I mean? It ain't like we putting out, like we seeing on the news where they putting out like, okay, he's doing this. Ain't nobody talking about what they doing over here on this side. You know what I mean? So it ain't like he did this and then all of a sudden everybody done tuck tail and just, you know what I mean, let me run and kiss your feet. No, these are the ones that's been messing with you from the beginning. Of course they're gonna come over and do that. These are guaranteed people. We talking about them. You know what I mean? Because if it wasn't for them, there wouldn't be a BRICS alliance if it wasn't for them. You know what I mean? These are the ones over here that's hoarding up the gold. These are the ones that's asking these other countries, okay, I'll take your payment, but now you're going to pay me in gold. I don't want your money. Pay me in gold. This is the reason why they're doing that. Because if you control the gold, you control everything else. You see what I'm saying? And these people over here are the masterminds behind that, which is another reason why I said, if you got the BRICS alliance, North Korea and Russia is part of the BRICS alliance. Why did they not get hit? There's other strategies around this. You know what I mean? So when you hit them, you hit everybody. If you hit your friends, then you hit them too. There is no distinction. You know what I mean? That's like you having a friend and like, okay, I'm gonna turn my back on my friend for him, but I know he my enemy. You know what I mean? I'm gonna let my friend go to the side because I know even though he'll stab me in the back, you know what I mean? And he's done it before. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna turn against my friend for this one. You know what I mean? That's what it seems like. You know what I mean? But you got to weigh all this stuff together. Everything has to be weighed out. You know what I mean? Because just like we sitting here talking about this, just like the administration sitting there talking about what they gonna do next, they doing the same thing over there, and they've been doing stuff. And they've been doing stuff behind the scenes for years. And then when it popped up, it was like, oh, we didn't even know that even went down. That's what I'm getting at. You got this teeter. You got this. This is what
makes sense.
And eventually it's gonna come to head. I mean, like it's gonna come to head between this one and this one. And who's gonna have the most power? Right. And who gonna have the most power?
Makes sense.
At the end of the day, who's gonna be the one that's gonna run the roost? So when we sitting here playing these games, you got to think about everything that's incorporated, that engulfs all of this. Like it's just not this. You know what I mean? It's not just the fact that you're getting some money from these countries, you know what I mean? And then, like I said, even if you raise it up, they ain't paying it. We're gonna be the ones pay it. We the ones are actually paying these tariffs. You know what I mean? Yeah, the company pays it to get the merchandise, but we're gonna pay it. Plus
it boils down to us, the consumer.
Right, plus higher because they got to make their money off of that. So we're gonna be the ones that's gonna take the hit off of that anyway. You know what I mean? So while they sitting here playing this damn cat and mouse game, try to see who gonna blink first, or the little, you know what I mean, old man game version of chicken and shit, we're gonna suffer for that. We're gonna pay the price. Now, at the end of the day, it's all gonna boil down to, you know what I mean, who's just a little bit smarter to get over, or how far are you willing to take this? Because
game of chicken.
Right, exactly. You went from 19%, which is what Trump initially did when the first administration. Biden boosted it up to 10. Then you turn around, you jacked it up again. Then you jacked it again. Now we're at 125%. They turn around, they did another 84 over top of whatever they had over there. So you just So you just going back and forth. You know what I mean? They know how to hit you, just like you know how to hit them.
Yep, that's true. Of course.
So in every trade war, correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron, in every trade war, what does it lead to? What does it lead to?
Real war.
Thank you, sir.
There you go.
And
Thank you, sir.
let me address that for a second.
Go
Let me
ahead.
address that. Now, China, Masters, they've been the silent dragon. Like you said, they've been arming up for the last 15 years. They have the largest navy in the world right now. They have the largest military force in the world right now. And they're trying to get control of the Panama Canal. Now, today, that Hezgaff guy, or however you pronounce his name, he's been down in Panama for the last couple of days. And we done sent some F-18 fighters down there, few other things to this air base right there. And we're going to help Panama defend that Panama Canal, because that place is going to be strategic.
Mm-hmm. True.
And China's trying to buy it. They're trying to offer a lot of money to get control of it. And if they can get a guerrilla force in there and dynamite or blow the controls that control that thing, they can shut that down. Now, right now, it came out this past week that there's over 1,000 Chinese agents inside the United States. There's also Chinese farmland that's been bought right next door to every military base we have inside this country. Those 1,000 agents using drones could shut down our power grid. And the United States military is not on a separate grid. They're on the same grid as the civilians. If you can shut down the grid in the United States, you make it difficult for us to be able to communicate and get forces overseas to assist with them not taking on Taiwan and taking over that whole area all the way down to Australia, because they're patrolling the whole thing, including doing laps around Australia right now with some of their ships. They're threatening the whole region, and their military forces all concentrated. Even their navies all concentrated in the same area where ours is spread out thin all over the world. They got 1,000 agents here. We already talked on a past show where ISIS and Al Qaeda has a certain number of agents inside our country. Soviets have agents inside our country. Things is going to get nasty when, like I said, when goods stop going across the border, usually troops start crossing the border. So if that day comes, it's going to get nasty, and it's going to be up to the American people to realize this life of your own is your responsibility. Ain't nobody coming to rescue you. So you better be on point when it comes to taking care of yourself and your family, because help ain't coming. But I'll stop there.
What was that Papa put up there? That last one?
This one?
Now, he is correct. They're not a superpower, but they've been trying for many, many years to get to that point.
And the backing.
That's what we was talking about. You know what I mean? This is why I was talking about how they were going to these different countries doing different stuff. You know what I mean? In order to be able to like capture waterways, different stuff like that. This is what I was meaning by that. Now, he put another message on there earlier about the Navy. He was also right about that as well.
Let me see.
They
right
do
here.
have, when we talk about actual ships, vessels, let's just say vessels that they have out there. Yes, China does have more, but they are smaller. They are smaller ships. This is something that I was talking to somebody about a couple of days ago. These are smaller ships. These are not, destroyers or Aegis class cruisers or carriers. And I mean, they're not those type of ships. These are smaller ships that they're able to rapidly produce. You know what I mean? And the thing with that, when you're dealing with, everybody knows that when you're dealing with Chinese shit, some shit is good, some shit is
No kidding.
You know what I mean? Right. So, so you got that too. You know what I mean? Some of it may be good, some of it may be a piece of shit. Don't know. You know what I mean? They it's one of them quality. It's one of them the quantity over quality type situations. Like, yeah, we got this many. Like, y'all got this, we got this. But when it all comes to face value and you got to fight for it, these little ones that you got right here can't even come close to that. You know what I mean? So Penguin is absolutely right. Another thing that he was on there talking about was what I was going to bring up earlier, is that one of the big things that China holds over the U.S. is the fact that they got so much of the treasuries that they have. And if they turn that shit back, it's a hit in the mouth. A serious hit in the mouth. Now, they've known this. They've known this for years and years because they've been selling these treasuries to them. They've been doing it. You know what I mean? It didn't just start now. They've been doing this for years. You know what I mean? So if they've been buying all this stuff, you know, they come over here, they buying treasury, they buying land over here. You can't buy land in China.
Right. No kidding.
You can't go to China right now and buy shit.
Nope. Even if I was a business, wouldn't matter.
Right. But they let you come here and buy them. Wow,
that's true.
They buying treasuries and they buying everything else. So they let them do it. Now you got, you know, I mean, certain places that they were trying to buy that they, you know, that they jumped up and said, no, absolutely not. You can't buy this spot. But there's been a whole lot of spots that they have bought. You know what I mean? And they own a lot of stuff over here. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why they're able to stand up and poke their chest out, because they feel that they can.
No kidding.
You know what I mean? So even if they did just the treasury by itself, that's a hurt. Just the treasury on its own is a hurt. Am I right about that, Aaron?
You're absolutely right. I mean, they did it. I mean, this over the weekend, they cashed in a certain amount of their treasury notes, and that was a direct attack on our money, because they know we do not have the money to cash them out. We can't cash out the Saudis. We can't cash out the Japanese. I mean, we've sold too many treasuries to too many people that can hold that over our heads and try to crash our economy.
Exactly. And they said that it was a lot of them in the past few days that will start selling back those treasuries in the past few days. So when we talk about, you know, everything in a whole, and you making up your own opinion as to the reason why the stuff went the way it did today, this is part of the reason. So when you selling these treasuries back, you got these billionaires talking about, hold up now, you're doing too much, but you fucking with my money. You're doing too much. You got Congress that they done passed a bill in the Senate where you actually had Republicans join in with like, hold up now, you're doing too much. You got a couple different things that's taking place. You know what I mean? So you got to slow this down a little bit. You got to slow it down. So yes, maybe it was a power move that you do over here. Like, yeah, okay. So we did this. Now all these people falling at our feet want us to talk to them. But there was reasons why but you got these other ones over here that don't give a shit about your bluff, because they got bargaining chips. They got other things that they can play. And if they didn't have it to play, they would be just like them 75 right here, running to you trying to talk. These over here got something to play with. They got a chip. They got something that they can hold over your head. And China, unfortunately, has a huge chip that they can use, and they know it. So we just gonna watch. So we just gonna watch and see what happens, because this right here, it ain't gonna just end where they be like, okay, listen, let's just talk about this, and let's just put it ain't, because you got two stubborn fucks. You got Trump, and then you got Xi Jinping. Two stubborn old fucks. And what's gonna happen? They're gonna keep sitting there, go back and forth.
True.
Back and forth. That's exactly what they're gonna do. They're gonna keep calling wolf tickets until somebody jumps. That's what's gonna happen. So we're gonna just sit back and watch this. Like I said, we on here. We're gonna close it out. Pop, I'm gonna have to get you on the show one day, man, because you always on here putting all these comments on here. But I need to get you on here one day just just to get your opinion on a couple things. So
he's a legend, dude, for real. Like that dude right there. Anytime he says something, I take it serious.
Yeah, so get my information on the bottom and get a hold of me so we can.
Yeah, I'll put it up right now.
Yeah, so I can holler at you, man.
I
mean, hell, I've been talking to Papa since we were doing Boneyard and everything else. You know what I mean? And I never actually talked to him, but we need to have a conversation, bro. But to everyone else, I appreciate it. Like every week, y'all come out, like, follow, share, subscribe, hit the like button on your way out. Those ones on my side, go on Mike's page, hit his like button. You ones on Mike's page, come over, do the same for me.
Yep.
We're doing a lot of things here. There's a lot of other stuff that we trying to do. We're gonna have working on some courses right now that we're gonna put out. Dealing with all this survival stuff, prepping stuff, all that. So we got a course that we're gonna be coming out with here soon.
That's a big W.
Yeah. So we got the shop. The shop's going good. A lot of people going in and buying stuff on there. So like I said, go on there, go on my page, go on the shop. There's a lot of good stuff on there. See what else we got going on here. Let me see. Oh, happy birthday to my son Kylan. Turns 12 today. Happy birthday.
Nice. Happy birthday. 12 years old.
And another thing that we're doing. We got a couple viewers that's one had called wanting to know about our intro, wanting to add something to it. So then I had another one call with the same thing. So what I did was, and I'm gonna put it out to everyone else that may be interested. So what I put out to him was like, okay, I want both of you make an intro.
Make some.
Send it to me.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do a poll on the Dominant Effect group chat on Facebook.
Nice.
And then the winner of that, we'll play it on the show.
That
will be our new intro. Now, for you ones that's just hearing this, some of you ones that's tech people that like doing stuff like that. Here's my information on the bottom. If you're interested, hit me up. But what we're gonna do is 1 week from today, we're gonna do a poll, and we're gonna put them out. We're gonna show you both live on here, and then we're gonna do the poll on the group chat on Facebook. On Facebook,
right?
Group.
Diamond Effect group.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you're not on the Diamond Effect group on Facebook, go on there.
Yeah. Let me get the link real quick too for that. I'll pull that up.
So we're gonna do that, and the winner will become that video will become our next intro. So I figured I'd bring it out, being the fact that, like I said, a couple people asked me about it, and I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I tell you what, if you can do one better than that, run it. Let me see what you got. You know what I mean? And if it's good, we'll use it. You know what I mean? But I'll let the fans decide which one is better.
That's dope.
So like I said,
this is the group chat, everyone. Make sure you guys go into the Diamond Effect group chat right there. Boom.
So like I said, I appreciate everybody. Like, follow, share, subscribe, send the show to other people. Let's get this pumping. And I'll see y'all in 7 days. Go ahead, Aaron.
Oh, whoops. On Aaron. There you go. Now go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, my warning is still what it's always been. You prepare. War's possibly coming, and even if it's not, economic and currency war and trade war is definitely here. It's in our face right now. Start stocking up on some things. Have some extra stuff around the house that you can provide for your family: food, water, meds. Also have an alternative means to be able to provide your family power, because sooner or later, someone's going to get around to taking our power grid down. And even though there's 3 grids in the United States, East, West, and Texas, the majority of the U.S. population lives on the East grid. If they take that down, a lot of the United States is going to be without power. So if you want to have it, take measures now to get something in place so that you'll have something. That way you can have power while everybody else is doing without. And I'll stop there.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough for hanging out with us on this beautiful Wednesday night. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. And listen, if you guys are on my side, stick around for just a second because we're going to be sending you guys off to Grid One Motorsports. So make sure you guys show them a little love, let them know it's a little raid coming through. And listen, much love, honor, respect, everybody. Thank you all so much. And again, thank you to AB and Aaron, of course, for your guys' immense knowledge on this topic. I love being able to learn from it. So I take a lot of notes mentally, of course, as well. We got a video log of it. So listen, always appreciate it. And until 7 days from now, much love, honor, respect to you guys. Much love.